Red, famous and romantic, and durable enough for daily wear. A lot of people assume ruby is the safe, straightforward choice for the engagement ring. It can be, but it's also one of the easiest gemstones to overpay because that one word covers very different products. A 1-carat ruby can be a fine natural stone with no evidence of heat. It can be heat treated as well. It can have residues in features. It can be lead glass filled. It can be lab grown. It can be so pink that the price should be closer to the pink sapphire territory. Or it can be an average stone priced highly because of the listing says Burma, Pigeon Blood, or untreated. That is the real risk. You are not just choosing the red gemstones, you are choosing the ruby category, and each category has a different prices, different durability profiles, and different buying logic. In this video, I'll explain what actually matter, what is worth paying for, what is the marketing at the end of the day, and what should make you stop before committing. Is ruby actually good for your engagement ring? Yes, ruby can be one of the best colored gemstones for daily wear. Ruby is corundum, same mineral family as the sapphire. It has hardness of 9 on the Mohs scale, excellent toughness, no cleavage. That is a strong starting point for the engagement ring. But answer depends on the type of ruby itself. A normal untreated or heat-treated ruby is not the same practical object as the lead glass-filled ruby. The mineral might be ruby itself, but the treatment changed value, durability, and how the ring should be cared for. So before I judge the ruby for an engagement ring, I want to know two things. Is it natural or is it lab? And if it's natural, what treatment is disclosed? For daily wear, I would rather use a smaller ruby with a clear disclosure than a large stone that only looks impressive because it has been filled. And we are going to talk about the treatment later in this video. Ruby, sapphires, and the pink sapphire boundaries. Ruby and sapphires are both corundums. Red corundums is just called rubies. Every other color is sapphire. So if a seller uses the phrase red sapphire, slow down and ask what they mean by that. In standard gemology language, red corundums earns the name ruby, always. The real confusion is the boundaries with the pink sapphire. Some stones are clearly red, some are clearly pink, but many sits in the middle. Pinkish red, reddish pink, light red, soft red. This matters because ruby typically carries the higher price expectation than the pink sapphire. A pinkish stone can be beautiful and the pink sapphire can make an excellent engagement ring, but the pricing should match what the stone actually is. If it reads mostly pink in a normal light, I would not pay top red pricing just because the listing says ruby. Look at the actual color itself, check the lab report and compare it against the sapphire before deciding the premium makes sense for you. Color, what actually drives value? Color is the biggest value factor, but red is not precise enough. Gemologists look at the hue, tone, and saturations. Hue is the direction of the color. Pure red, slightly purplish, pink, orange, or brownish. The most valuable range is the vivid to slightly purplish red. A touch of purple can still look excellent though. Too much orange or brown hurts the appearance. Too much pinks take you back to the pink sapphire question that we just covered. Tone is how light or dark the stone reads. This is where a lot of buyers get confused. A dark stone can look expensive and serious in the seller's photos or videos, but once it's on the hand in the normal indoor light, it might look dark or lifeless. We want richness without heaviness, red and alive, not dark and flat. Saturation is the intensity of the color itself. A vivid stone has a real presence and does not look washed out, but strong saturation only helps when the tone is not too dark and the hue is attractive. This is why I never judge from the single video. I want to see the stone in a daily light, indoor light, softer shade light, and ideally next to the skin tone. Quick pause. If you are shopping for the engagement ring, check our playlist in the description below. It walks you through the key parts of the process of creating custom engagement rings, step by step, so you can make a better decision with more confidence. I hope it helps, and I would love working together. Color categories buyers actually see. Let's make that more practical. Fine red rubies is the dream category. Vivid, rich, open, alive, not too dark, not too brown, not too flat. This is where the stone has to prove itself in the real lighting, not only in the listing. Slightly purplish red ruby can also be exciting. Do not reject it because it's not pure red. A small purplish direction often makes the color feel richer. The question is whether the stone still reads as the beautiful red overall. Pinkish ruby is softened and more romantic. It can be a great choice, but pricing need to be honest. If it looks closer to the pink sapphire than the fine red, do not pay ruby money for it. Dark ruby is the dangerous zone, to be honest. Impressive in photos and videos, but potentially lifeless in a daily wear. If the center goes black under normal lighting, or it only looks good under the flashlight, I would not chase the carat weight. It's very easy to fall down that trap. Commercial rubies also exist. They are very affordable. It's a separate category, usually darker, more included, more cloudy, or less vivid. Still a meaningful choice if it's priced honestly. Star ruby is the separate conversation. Cut as the cabochon for the start effect, not faceted for the brilliance. Beautiful, but not what most people are shopping for when they shopping for the ruby itself. Cut clarity and the face-up size. Ruby is not graded the way diamond is. Most natural rubies have inclusions. A clear ruby with a strong color is rare and commands premium accordingly. Chasing diamond style clarity here is the wrong goal, to be honest. The better question is whether the inclusions hurt the beauty, transparency, and durability. Fine seal can actually give the certain rubies a soft glow that you want. But if the stone looks cloudy, sleepy, heavily fractured, or dead in the center, that matters. Surface reach and fractures matters more. They affect durability and might indicate feeling that should be disclosed. Cut is equally important because rough is valuable, so cutters often prioritize the weight retention over face-up beauty. That produce stones that looks good on the certificate but weak in the ring itself. Watch for windowing as well, where the center of the stone looks pale, glassy, or washed out instead of holding the color. You can see straight through it, and once it's in the ring, that center is all you notice. Watch for extinctions, where the large portions of the stone go completely black when it moves. Some extinctions is normal, but if the half of the table disappear under regular indoor lighting, the cut is working against the color and essentially against you. Watch for hidden weight, where the carat number sounds impressive, but the stone is cut so deep, so most of the weight sits below the girdle itself at the bottom of the stones and never show up on the surface. Two stones can be same carat weight and look completely different size in the ring. Also keep in mind that corundum is denser than the diamond. A 1 carat ruby faced up smaller than 1 carat diamond, about 12% less. Do not shop for the weight alone. Look at the millimeter sizes, spread, and how the stone sits on hands. Treatment, where the price change fast. Treatment is where this category became genuinely risky for buyers. Heat treatment is common and accepted when properly disclosed. It can improve both color and clarity, and for the most engaging rings buyers, a well-cutted, clearly disclosed treatment ruby with a strong color is the smartest middle ground. Untreated material is rare, and if the color is excellent and the lab confirms no evidence or heat, the price can be significantly higher. But untreated is not magic. A dual ruby is still dual. The premium only makes sense when the piece is beautiful first. Then there is the heated stones with the residues and fissures. This is where report wording matters. Minor residues and significance feeling are not the same thing. The type and amount affects the value. Do not let the seller explain this vaguely when serious money is involved. Lead glass feeling is the different category entirely. It puts the stones in a completely different category. It can make heavily fractured material looks much cleaner, but the glass is sensitive to heat treatment and routine jewelry repairs in a way that untreated or simply heated stones are not. For the engagement ring, I would genuinely avoid it. Diffusion treatment must be disclosed and should never be priced like fine natural color materials as well. The practical summary is that heat treatment is normal. Untreated is premium, and glass field is the different category, different products whatsoever. Do not let those three categories confuse you. Lab-grown and antique stones. I have a separate video going deeper in the lab-grown ruby, so I'll keep this one short. Lab-grown material can be beautiful, durable, and affordable. The issue is not that it's lab-grown, the issue is the disclosure. It has to be sold and priced as what it is. The same caution applies to antique jewelry. An old ring does not guarantee a natural stone. Synthetic corundum has existed for well over the century. With inherited or vintage pieces especially, the setting might be period correct, while the stone has been replaced. If it's mattered to the value, verify it independently. Origin when it's matter. Origin can matter significantly, but only after the stone itself earned it. Mozambique is one of the most important modern ruby sources. Beautiful rubies come from there, and for many buyers, a strong Mozambique ruby with a solid documentation might be the smartest choice than chasing the famous origin at any cost. Thailand and Cambodia have historically darker, more iron-rich material, where heat treatment has been a standard part of the market. Sri Lanka can yield lighter pink stones, sometimes beautiful but different value logic from the top vivid red. Those origins can matter, especially for unusual or high-end stones, but for most buyers they should be secondary to color, treatment, cut, and the documentation. Myanmar, particularly Maguk mines, carried historical prestige. Fine Burmese materials can command major premium when the color, transparency, and treatment status and report all support it. But today's source in ruby from Myanmar is legally and ethically complicated because of the sanctions and the connections between the gem trade and state-controlled or conflict-linked channels. We do not treat Burmese rubies as a normal source options. At Ninavo, we choose not to work with the Burma rubies materials at the moment. So if you see Burma origin used to justify a higher price, do not pay for the story alone. You would need a respected lab report supporting the origin and the clear sourcing history from the seller. Start with the stone itself. Use origin to understand rarity and pricing, not to justify it. Origin can raise the price, it cannot fix the ruby itself. Pigeon blood. Pigeon blood is one of the most abused phrases in the market of rubies. At its best, it's pointing to a very fine vivid red. In most retail listings, it's a luxury language used to make an average stone sounds more important. I would not pay for the phrase on its own. If a seller uses it to justify the price, I want a serious lab report that actually supports that color description at that level. And even then, I still want to judge the stone directly by itself. Is the color as vivid? Is the stone open enough to the real light? Is the treatment clearly disclosed? Is the origin claim supported? I would rather buy an exceptional ruby without a dramatic name than overpay for a mediocre one with a romantic wording in the listing itself. Certification and what the report actually saying. For this category, the lab report is the part of the buying decision. A good report should answer the question that changed the value. Natural lab, evidence of heat, residues and features, glass filling or composite treatment, diffusion, and whether the claim origin is supported. For a lower budget purchase, a trusted seller with a written treatment disclosure may be sufficient. For a serious natural ruby, I want a respected lab report. For untreated materials, claim Burma origin, pigeon blood pricing, or any large expensive piece, I would not buy it without proper documentation. You might see reports from GIA, AGL, SSEF, Jubilee, GRS, and few others. Do not look only at the logo though, read what it actually says. No indication of heating usually puts the ruby in a much higher price category than the heat-treated ruby, for example. Heated can still be a perfect legitimate engagement ring stone. Heated with the minor residues is not the same as the ruby with the significant feeling, and lead glass field is not just another small treatment node. It's a completely different category of the stones. Before recommending a ruby to a client, I want answer to a few specific things. What is the actual millimeter size, not just the carat weight? What does it look like in a normal light? What treatment is disclosed in writing? Does the report support? Whether the listing is used in justifying price? Is the stone structurally clean enough for the setting? The surface reaching fractures near the prawn seed is real concern. An internal cloud in the middle of the table is the different kind of problem. And finally, how will this ring be cleaned and serviced over the years? A normal, untreated or heat-treated ruby is tough and handles routine jewelry work without issue. A field stone is much more sensitive. Heat ultrasonic cleaning and certain chemical can damage the field. The jeweler doing future repairs need to know what they are working with before they are touching the stone itself. That is why I don't like undocumented stones in the engagement ring. A mystery piece might be fine in a cocktail ring that you'll wear occasionally. In something worn daily for decades, I want the paperwork before the setting is built around it. Price logic and the final call. Here's how I rank value when helping someone to choose. Color first, treatment status second, cut on the face up, beauty third, clarity, transparency fourth, size fifth, origin sixth, report strength seventh. Treatment seeds high because it can move a ruby into the completely different market as we talked. Heated, treated, unheated, residue present, glass field, and the lab grown are not the same variation of the stone. They are different buying decisions with a different risk profiles. One more thing worth understanding. Price in these categories do not add up linearly. Strong color, clear appearance, good size, no evidence of heat, desirable origin, and major lab report do not each contribute in a fixed percentages. They multiply. This is why a slightly smaller heated treated ruby with the excellent color can be better engagement ring choice than the large untreated piece with a weaker life. Choose this stone if you want a classic red ring, strong daily wear durability, and you are prepared to pay for a proper color treatment disclosure and documentation. For most buyers, I would seriously consider a well-cut, clearly disclosed heat-treated ruby with a strong color. That is often smarter than chasing untreated status at the cost of the beauty. For a collector level ruby, slow down. Get the report, compare options carefully. Do not buy the stone before you understand what is actually in front of you. When color, treatment, cut, and documentation all line up, ruby can be an incredible choice. When they do not, it's very easy to overpay. If the report language is confusing you, that is exactly the kind of question to ask before the ring is made. It need of getting the stone right before building the ring is something we take very seriously. Leave the question in the comment below if you still have any after watching this video, or reach out directly. I'll be happy to help. Thank you so much for watching this video.